Howdy, howdy, everybody out there in YouTube land. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about my ring through silk trick. Now, I just posted a YouTube short for this trick. We're going to go through multiple phases for the ring portion, and then we're going to introduce the silk and some of the things that you can do with that as the finale. So now the purpose of this ring, this magic ring. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to tell you that it's magic. I keep messing that part up. So you can take the ring over to here, and the ring will simply vanish, but will reappear on the finger. Alternatively, you can take that ring right off the finger and throw it back onto the finger. Now, of course, you can do that with both hands, but then I think they're going to see the loophole. Yeah, the loophole. You throw that into the air. Oh, way to go. You just give the hand a little bit of a shake. No, not this hand. This hand. See? It's right here. Well, and so that works out too. But if you have a scarf or something like this, you can, it's weird how the magic works because this scarf is magically floating pieces in the air. It's because we're using a green screen and it's making some of it disappear. So remember how I said this is the loophole? Well, this is where the looping happens. So you put the silk onto here like so, and then we're going to use the best knot that I know, a double knot. Double shirt. You know what I'm saying? Now you've got the ring on the silk, and simply by giving it a little bit of a pull, we've actually tied it onto there. Yes. It's legitimately tied onto the... Oh! Wowzers! Did that scare you? It scared me too. The magic. It just went through the tied silk. I couldn't even... Where'd it go? Oh, it flew right behind your head, but here it is. It went through the silk. That's crazy. So beautiful. If you love the trick, go ahead and subscribe to the channel today so you can see more Yosemite coming your way. Of course, if you don't want to learn how it's done, you can go ahead and click away now. We got a bunch of other videos that you can take a look at. But if you're here to learn some magic, let's take a closer look. The ring can be worn on either finger, depending on your presentation style and depending on some of the other tricks that you do. You don't really want it to get in the way. So typically it can just stay here on this finger, which is fine. I typically wear it on this finger because I do other magic with it. That where it works best over here. And it gives you justification to take it off here. And now if you do prefer wearing it on here and you don't have any other problems, just learn how to take it off with one hand. That's really the concern there. Now you want to get some movement into the ring, and this is partially something that we learned from Jimmy Talks a Lot, because this is a very small prop, right? So you want to get some grand gestures, and you want this to work for a bigger crowd. Now for some of this, we're actually going to switch to the other camera. But for right now, you can see face to face how this works. Now, of course, the ultimate objective, and this is why when I have it on this hand, just as a side note where this may or may not work for you, when you take it off from this finger and get some movement to it, and then I toss it back to this hand, because that's the hand that it belongs in, right? So you want it into this hand. So when you show this hand empty, a little bit of a subtlety to show the top and the bottom, that movement makes you think that you've shown both hands in some way, especially if this hand is open. Now, when you pretend to throw it to this finger, it jumps back here. Now, that's a subtlety that I have picked up on that I really love, but the original idea for this, that I got this from, was when this goes from the middle finger jumps from the index finger to the middle finger by shaking the fingers, the coin jumps. And that is basically just done by having the coin. That's another topic where you can jump right into a coin routine with the ring, just turn it into a coin. You start with the ring on your middle finger, and you just do this rocking motion, and it looks like it's on the top finger, and now it's on the bottom finger. And so it just goes through it. So I took that idea, and I didn't really care for the way that it was presented, especially for my fingers, because I couldn't get like this type of, like I practiced it a lot, But you got to really be careful of this knuckle right here, because that gets rid of the illusion. So you really want to start with some movement, but not giving away the fact that there's the extra finger here, and you're just going to jump right to it. So it's really a visual trick that requires practice and requires a specific medium. So what I did was I took it to a different direction, and I wanted to work some coin magic into it, because this is an idea of a fake pass, or a retention. You just put your thumb on it as you pass it over here. Now the act of turning your hand over just makes it look like it's dropping from hand to hand, and that motion is what's going to sell it. It's gone. But you want them to believe that the ring, I keep saying coin because I do a lot of coin, you want them to believe that it's actually going over to this hand. And all you're going to do is you're just going to clip it in between the webbing here. So it's just a clip. That's the objective. You get some movement here, shoot it over to this hand, and then I like to, you can, however you want to do it, to magical gesture. It's gone. As soon as you open this hand, real slow, and show the front and the back of it, at that point, what a lot of people think is, for what I'm doing in terms of the timing, they think from the time that I'm going from here that I'm using this as the motion. But that's what I'm doing, is I'm getting this motion here. As soon as this hand covers over here, I'm snaking into and using my middle finger as the deception. Notice the angle here that I'm keeping, so that this perception is that this is the knuckle. Turning my body a little bit away from them, so that when I use the finger as the opener, I'm moving this hand so that it's naturally flowing in a way that this finger is perceived as the pointer finger that already has the ring on it. 1, 2, and then you're going to go into like a grabbing motion. So 1, 2, 3. And you're rotating your hand up with a little bit of a shake or flourish, how you want to do that. Now, side note, just be careful that the ring is snug on the finger, else it could fly off. So that's why I developed the second phase, which also has a really interesting subtlety that I really love. Because if this got loose, the first switch, so when you do this, if you notice that it's jumping a little bit, you come over with this hand and you cover and you push. You're going to push the ring forward as you twist, and then you're going to pull it off. So that when you throw it back on, it's already setting up the premise, because you already did it once for them. So when you push and then pull, it's just so deceptive that I love it, because it's that big motion covering the small motion, and that second phase to me is truly magical. Now, I will admit, my third phase is not as good as I would like, because my left hand does not work as well as my right hand. So I need to practice a little bit more, and I need to work on those angles. So you're going to do the same motion again by throwing the coin into the other hand. But this time you're really going to throw it, and you're going to justify that by saying, so when I do that, you're going to see the loophole. Now, I call it the loophole because for my final phase, I have the silk. And so for this purposes, and you can use pretty much any silk will work with this, or rope. You can use rope, and we'll get into that in a second, why it may or may not work out for you. So loophole going into the French drop, and you're going to take it over to here. Again, see how I'm creating this moment where I'm pointing to this hand. So when I throw it, that's when I'm going to grab and I'm going to switch. So I'm doing like the opposite motion here, where I'm clipping, pointing, throwing into the air and looking, and that's when I do the switch, and I get that good angle to make it perceived as if that's the front finger. Now, you don't want to sit in this motion too long, and you got to be careful about this window here. That's why I suggest switching this way. And it's going to have to be quick, right? Because you don't want, everybody over here could see it. So even if that angle is really wonky. So that's why this grand gesture, you got to shake the hand. You want everybody to be looking here. They can't be looking anywhere else. Where'd it go? What's going on? Oh, if you just shake the hand a little bit. Oh, not this hand, because this is what they're seeing. They're seeing the point, So just pay attention to this hand now. This is what they're seeing. I'm looking over here. And that's where I want you to look. But we're going to look down here. So they're seeing the hand go up. As the hand goes up, this comes up. Nothing has changed over here except for this finger switches to this finger. So if they glance back, it's the same image. So they're like, okay, give this hand a little bit of a shake. Oh, not this hand. We shook this hand. And then it appears. So that final phase just covers a couple of really interesting things, and it changes the perception of what you're trying to do. You're really trying to control where the audience is looking, and you're trying to make it grand. One of the things that I'll do if it were like a standalone thing, especially with that middle phase where you're pushing and then, I did it backwards. Palm facing up, push on, twist, pull off. You can throw it in the air and you can catch it. And here it is. So in that creates, because you figure when you're outside or when you're doing this for a group of people, you're gonna have more movement. You want this as much as possible. Because if you're not moving around and you're not projecting, then they're just seeing this little box and they can't see this little box. They need to see, hey, I've got a ring and it's jumping from here to here. That's what they want to see. Don't do your switches here. Do them here to project to a bigger audience. Now, I will touch base on this briefly, but I'm not going to go over it in this video. So I have a couple of different things that I like to use here. And really briefly, I will... let's see here. Can I do it? Is there a way to turn it off? Suspension of disbelief. Behind the scenes. That is the green screen set up behind us. Now you can see the full silk. Now, typically what I would do is I would produce this silk. So this wouldn't start out. But I do have a multicolored scarf that I might wear around my neck. And I'll do a little bit of rope magic with it. So there is versatility there, and I do have options, and then I can use that for this trick as well. If I wanted to use a bigger ring, then again, projecting to a bigger audience because it's easier to see. Now, this is the loophole, remember? Now you could do some stuff with this if you want, but the idea is that this ring likes to jump around, but it also has a different magical property, which is that when you loop the silk through it. Now, here's what I like to do. Because it's a multicolored silk, I will have it towards the yellow over here. Depending on which side it is, it looks like yellow is about the same spot on both sides because it's a similar pattern. So I will have it off-centered a little bit to the one side because when I loop it over, I want to keep that in that direction. And I'll show you here in a second why. So let's say you have it in the center where the red is. And then you go to tie it. Notice how it ties in that direction. It actually pulls it towards this hand. And so I noticed that, and I want a little bit more deception there. So I will have one hand lower than the other so that when I go to tie it, what I've noticed is that now it's a little bit more equal towards the center. And that's what you're going for. You kind of want to be able to hold it up in such a way that it's gonna be perception-wise towards the center. Now for this part, as you see, it's already unfolding. It's a false knot that you're doing here. So you're taking your fingers, clipping here. This is from the Mark Wilson course in Magic. Clipping between the index and middle finger, crossing over into the middle of the left hand with your middle finger and your ring finger. Then you're going to reach through the hoop. Grab this strand here as your middle finger is going to loop that and clip it here in a ring. So as you pull it, tight as it can be, that's what's going to cause it to lock like a knot. So notice in the performance that I did, I had to pull really hard, which it gives you this illusion that you're like, oh no, am I going to ruin the silk? But you're slip knotting it through it. So now if you were to just do that, it would untie back onto the strand. So now that's why we got to do a double knot. Double knot. Now remember, for this next part, you really have to make sure that it's the right orientation. So what I like to do is I like to flip up the ring and push it through from that same side. So now if you hide this, it looks like it's tied behind it. So just like that. Now, what I would do in a performance with spectators is I would put the ring on whatever finger it's going to be on, and then I would have a spectator hold both sides and then pull on it until the ring comes through. Now, another thing that I've done, I'm looking for, I'm clowning around. It's on my head. Anyway, so another thing I've done is I'd have the hat here so that when I create the magical moment where it pops off, then I've got the hat. Now this is typically my opener, but if you did this as a nice little routine where you want to like use your hat as your there's a special word for it, but basically this is where your disposal dump is for all your stuff. So if you have a smaller show, you can just dump everything in your hat, and then at the end you'll be like, just as I put everything in my hat, now it's time for you to put everything you got in your hat. Watches, wallets, keys, I don't care. Just have a good time with it. You could just leave a couple dollars. That'd be great if if you had a good time. And speaking of that, if you had a great time, you can go ahead and find the donate buttons. You can donate $1, $2, $5, $10, $20. I don't care. It'd be a good time. You subscribe. That's a great way to help the channel. And of course, if you do want a deck review and you have something specific in mind, if you donate money for that, then you will get that deck review up on the channel. And all of the decks that are purchased through that will go towards a giveaway at the end of each year. So thank you, everybody. And remember, stay positive, stay active, and stay awesome. And we'll see you in the next one.